actually straightened my hair for this video, but as you can see I didn't do a very good job. I don't even put enough effort into pretending that I make an effort. Very promising. Today I'm gonna give you the second half of the list of awkward encounters I've had in London. The first story, and probably the most awkward on this list, is from a few years ago. I was walking, a person on a motorbike drove past me and I smiled at them, which I got told off later by one of my friends, like, this is why these things keep happening to you, because you smile at guys and they take it the wrong way. But at that particular time I was quite into bikes and I just, you know, I smile at people. I am very, very approachable. I always get asked to take pictures for people or for directions, which do not ask me for directions. If you ever actually saw me out in public, you would know what I mean. Why do these people always start wrestling when I'm filming a video? Anyway, this guy kept driving past me several times after this. I was on the phone to one of my friends and then I hear this guy pull up behind me and like drive onto the pavement, clearly because he wanted to talk to me. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, oh, this guy just pulled up, like what do I do? By the sound of this guy's accent, I was hoping that he wasn't Norwegian, you know? And he was like, oh, do you want to like go for a ride or something? He was like, have you been on one of these before? And I was like, well, yeah, not a Kawasaki, but like, I don't want to. And he was like, oh, but it's not scary, like you don't have to be scared. And I'm like, bitch, I am not scared. I've done that. There are very few things, physical things in life that I'm scared to do. I'll do the thrilliest of rides. I've skydived, I've moved abroad by myself twice, like, I'm not scared of a lot of things. But going on a ride with a stranger in a situation where he could very easily kill me, I'm not gonna do that. That's not because I'm scared, that's because I'm sensible. And I was like, well, sorry, I'm on the phone. And he was like, you can finish your phone call, like, I can wait. Are you even being serious? I can wait? Wait for what? Me to reject you? Like, I clearly don't want anything to do with this. After this, for a long time, every time I saw a bright yellow bike, I was like, he found me. This story is from around the same time, and every time I tell it, people cringe so hard, like everyone screams when I tell this story. I was living with my friend Amy, and we had a downstairs neighbor who was really weird. He was an old man who lived by himself, and he was so awkward, and he would be like doing the worst kind of small talk, and I am not a small talk person, like I will avoid it at all costs. So whenever I was leaving, because we shared the same hallway, whenever I was leaving and I heard that he was in there, I was like, now I have to wait 5 minutes for him to, you know, do his stuff because he took so long. So Amy and I would constantly have to just like sit in our stairway and like wait for him to leave so that we could leave. And this one day I was throwing away a lot of cardboard boxes, like squishing them and, you know, taking them apart and just making them smaller so they would fit in the cardboard bin. And some of the ones that I hadn't got to yet were laying on the ground, and this neighbor came home and he was like, oh, like the best way to do this is to step on them. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks. Didn't ask for your advice, but like, okay. And he just stood there. So he clearly, I mean, he probably didn't have a lot of things going on, so this was probably an interesting event to him. So I was like, well, I can't not do it now because he's looking at me and waiting for me to step on the box. So, you know, I have to take it at his advice and make him feel important. So I stepped on the box, and then he stepped on the box with me. So he literally stood on the same box as I did. We stood so close to each other. He was like smiling and being excited about like stepping on this box to make it flat. And I'm like, what are you doing? How is this an exciting thing for you? Like, I know not a lot of things are happening, but this, it was so awkward. As I've talked about before on my channel, I was homeless in like the fall of 2018. Not sleeping rough, but staying in Airbnbs till I found a place to live. And one of the Airbnbs I stayed in, the guy was like super helpful, and he was but I didn't realize how weird he was until I read the messages to like my work friends, and we were all just sitting around the table like laughing. He kept asking me every day, like, do you want some milk? Do you want me to heat up some milk for you? Constantly just like saying stuff, and he was like, I'm sorry about like the noise I'm gonna be banging around today. Maybe this was funnier like at the time, but the way he just kept asking every day, like, do you want some milk? Do you want me to get milk? Like, do you want milk? Like all the time. It's like, why are you so obsessed with getting me milk? I'm trying to think if any other really weird things happened in the Airbnbs. Most of them were super nice. I would just forever recommend staying at Airbnbs because you meet so many amazing people. This lady was so friendly to me, and she would always like make a point to make me feel really welcome, talk a little bit whenever I came home from work, and it was nice. It was not the like awkward small talk thing, like she's just talking to me because she feels like she has to. And this one day I came home and her like kid has written something for the first time on their like little bored, and the kid wanted to show me, and it was so freaking cute. And I also stayed at one where there was a landlady who like owned the house, and like she lived there, and two guys like stayed with her and like rented like rooms, I think. There was something, the room wasn't ready or something when I arrived. Well, first of all, this lady was so rude when I was trying to find the place because it was so hard to find her apartment, and I was like, well, I can't find it, like how, like, can you help me, because it was a huge like estate or whatever, and I was like, how do I find this number? Like, I'm so confused. It was so hard to find, and it was dark. If you have an Airbnb and it's hard to find it, put directions there. And she was so rude and like just like, why can't you find it, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, what? Like, what kind of customer service is this? I'm actually paying to stay there. It's not like you're just, you know, letting me sleep on your couch because you're nice. And then I got there, and the guy who was also staying there was so nice and like gave me chocolate and tea or coffee or something, and we sat there and talked, and he was so friendly and so nice. He was such a good guy. And then she came and she was so like just unhappy that I was there. I was like, why do you have an Airbnb if you don't want people to come and stay here? Wow, this turned into a, oh, weird Airbnb things that happened to me. I forgot this happened. Why did I write this down? I think I might have told this in a video like years ago, but when I lived in Florida, I was in a parking lot and a guy was sat in a car and he was staring at me, and from the hand movements you could see that he was doing something. Am I gonna get flagged if I say masturbating in a video? Probably, but I'm not monetized anyway, so I guess I can just say it. Perks of being a small channel. So yeah, that was happening. And it was super awkward, and I was like, this happens? I was shook. I was like 19 or 20 at the time. I hadn't experienced a lot of weird stuff. Now, if that happened, I would be like, well, this is just normal. Obviously, that's not okay at all. I've heard it happen to a lot of people. Like, it's apparently not that uncommon, sadly. If you're a person who does that, like, what is wrong with you? Do not do that. If that's your fetish, then you need to roleplay with someone who's actually consenting to it, because doing it with a stranger, that's just not okay at all. This one happened a couple of years ago. I was on the phone with my mom and my brother, and I was walking through Hammersmith, which, if you've never been to Hammersmith, I feel like every time I'm in Hammersmith, like, something weird happens. I was walking down the sidewalk, talking to them, and then suddenly this crazy lady, she just looked like she was out of her mind, like she was not actually present in what she was doing. She just looked so angry, and her eyes were just really intense. I'm gonna make the assumption that she was on drugs. As she walked past me, she threw her sweater at me, but she like held the sleeves, so she threw it at me and then pulled it back and like kept walking. So of course it didn't hurt. It touched me. It went in my face, and I was like, because obviously I thought she was about to attack me or something, which has never happened to me. I'm not gonna paint London like it's super violent. Like, it's not like I'm scared to go out by myself. It was just so annoying that it had to happen when I was talking to my family, because my family of course are already a bit like, is living in London safe? Like, should we worry about her? My mom will just worry about me no matter what I do. But why did that have to happen when I was talking to them? Because obviously they heard, like, they were like, what just happened? But the lady just kept on walking, and she was strutting, like she was going really fast. So it's not like I had a proper interaction with her even. Of course I wasn't gonna confront her and be like, why did you do that? She was scary. It's just part of living in a big city. But then also, the perk is that it's easier for people to talk to each other, and you get more, you know, compliments, and of course more people flirting with you and all of that, but it's just innocent fun most of the time. Like, the other day I went to the farmer's market and I was looking at one of the stalls, but I wanted to look at all of them first to see like what I wanted to get from each of them. So I was looking, and the guy was like, can I help you? And I was like, oh, I'm just looking. And he was like, looking is £5. And then I came back to his stall after getting stuff from the other ones, and I paid for whatever I got, and then he was like, oh, and also the £5 for looking. And I was like, oh, ha, ha. And then he went, actually I should have paid you £5 for looking, as long as it's innocent fun and people aren't expecting to get something back. Like, there's a huge difference in, I should have given you £5 for looking at you. What's your number? Or, do you have a boyfriend? Or just, I should have given you £5 for looking at you. Ha 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 ha. As we're, you know, saying goodbye. Like, that's completely fine in my eyes. I hope I phrased that right. Don't harass people, okay? And don't step on their boxes if they don't want you to step on them. Thank you for watching this very rambly video, and I shall see you next Friday with a new video. Keep the good vibes. Bye!